Hey girl, you bad as luck. Hey girl, I'm mad as fuck that we ain't never fucked. I mean, like what the fuck? What was that to a bracer for you? Let me get that again. I got you back. Well, goddamn, you hot as hell. I mean, I might as well see what that might entail. I got some slight detail from your homegirl. You know, I knew your girlfriends back in the day, and you know, she was telling me that you were looking for somebody. And so I'm slim, but call me sugar. She thick and call me looking. Don't trip. You too good looking. Don't slip. You could be looking at the future's Mrs. Sugar if she play her cards right. And you know, I'm forgetting that. But yo, I came to kick it, you know. Fight dog and Tippet Ali, Shahid Jarobi, my flow be the golden ticket. So you enjoy the show, and I'll be back to visit. But now I got to spit like a spigot. Get back to business, get your hands in the air. You came to party tonight, we gon' get down, hell yeah. You have the time of your life if you do it right. If you do it right. If you do it right. If you do it right.
Got your makeup on, girl, don't hurt nobody. To the break of dawn, so you came here to party.
Alright, I get the stage cracking. Should I get major backing? I do it for the people, Asian, white, black, and Latin. Whether you catch the bus or you be Cadillacing, and niggas looking for beef like cattle jacking. We got that, roger that. I'm a star at it. Roger star back, drop back, Hail Mary. Tupacalypse in my Chevrolet Bel Air. It's in the can. Sugar Man, Leonard Shane or Ray Robinson. Well, goddamn, like Cassius Clay. What'd he say? Shook up the world, I'm a bad, bad man. For any Sonny listening, I hope Sonny's listening. I'm knocking niggas out.
Yeah, so that's stupid. And now you almost know everything about us, right? Hello, Amsterdam. I'm feeling good. Hope you all had a great conference so far. And the beers from yesterday aren't too hard on you today. I'm Bjarne, I'm 32 years old, I'm a creative director at Stupid Studio. The next, and I promise you, 25 minutes are hopefully going to be mind-blowing. Yeah, let's just put it up there. But first, let's just fucking close down the business. This was actually something we considered 4 years ago. That's not entirely truth, but doing this, we're there. Not because we didn't have any clients, not because we didn't believe in digital and online, but because of this. This is the actual numbers from 2013, showing how we performed on digital projects, and I can tell you this is bad. We simply wasn't able to earn money on digital projects. Again and again, one of our own products became our biggest expense. Designers and other creatives are ambitious and often nice people. That in combination with running a business with roughly 20 talented people working with budgets and clients in an ever-evolving digital world was impossible to us. I know a lot of small and middle-sized studios are struggling with the same thing. So to give you an insight on how we usually did web projects back then, this was our process, if you can even call it that. The client brief was often over the phone, email, or sometimes 1 hour meeting. After that, we priced the project, a fixed price for the whole project. We photoshopped 5 to 8 templates, pixel perfect. Then we made a presentation, often on printed boards. Yeah, printed boards to make it more at eye level with the client, right? Which is bullshit. And then we would slice and code like maniacs. And at some point, we reached delivery. And this is maybe a bit simplified, but I think you get the picture. The problem was that our budgets on a visual level did this.
That's fucking stupid!
And it is. Oh, and then what do you guys think this is? It's Afterlife. Yeah. And just to illustrate how Afterlife felt like back then, I got this one for you. So, thank you. Does it seem familiar in any way? Yeah? So this is when you're doing it wrong, and as you can figure out, we had to do something. So together with our digital team, we started the journey towards a better process and a happier life, developing websites, pointing out one issue at a time. That process, a quite long process, summed up, gave us these 3 headlines to solve our miseries. Use Play to make clients think. And the sexy one, 2-part billing structure. We're going to talk about budgets and billing and all that stuff. I'm sorry. And no more templates. Soon enough, we realized that one of the main problems was the missing understanding from the client side of how complex a web project really is. Most non-professionals look at websites like this and think it's a one-price buffet. This is reality, and I could even fit in 20 more things there. We had to find a way to make them understand that building a website is so much more than the actual design and code. And we knew we had to find a way to make that educational part fun, engaging, and playful if we should ever succeed. So how hard can it be? When we play and have fun, our mind opens up and relations are created. When we play, everyone is at the same level, and if we frame it right and define the playground, maybe it'll work. So, can we make it fun to educate our clients? To be able to do so, we had to come aboard much earlier. In the process with the client. We had to help define the actual problem in a playful way, and afterwards help them solve it. We should understand their business strategy and market, find out what's really important, and then keep focus. No more half-hearted client briefs, no more of long technical specifications. Let us define the real problem with the client and use our creative minds to solve the problem with the client as a partnership. So we began to insist upon a well-defined get-to-know-each-other process with clients in which our best people and their best people would use different processes and exercises which are picked from project to project. 2, a simple one, to define the different goals for the project, the primary and secondary uses of the website, and so on. So simply put, what are we going to achieve with this? Who is the audience? What do we want the audience or users to do or feel? How do we make sure that happens? In that way, we're enabling this to happen. We force the client to focus on the core functionality. If you ask me, great websites are only trying to do very few things for a defined kind of users. If those few things are done well, and we stimulate the defined users the right way, we win. It's simple. Often we see that the user goal is more or less the same for the different users, but the way we want to stimulate each user is most of the time different. We're using descriptive keywords in our creative process together with the client. This one is really in itself very simple again, but opens up for those fundamental discussions about the experience we're about to create. So what we're doing here is to make sure we enables everyone to discuss those more abstract and fluffy things such as how should your website feel? Or what do you want to express? Or how do we visually and emotionally stimulate the users, etc. And I promise you, normally those discussions are creepy shit for most suits and CEOs. But by creating a tool and by giving the client a kind of controlled way of expressing themselves, they jump right into it. Here is our bipolar chart. The red dots represent how the client's appearance is perceived today. The green ones, how we wish their digital presence should be perceived. And lastly, it's easy to agree on where we should put our biggest effort. Again, all of this is done through dialogue and sometimes discussions with the client. And the brand matrix exercise, where we're discussing the client's actual brand position in their market compared to competitors and where we're supposed to take them. The axis with this exact client, it says quality versus quantity and cheap versus expensive. A discussion like this gives us so much valuable information about the project we're facing and how we should approach the brand we're working with. One of my favorites, where we ask each of the representatives from the client side to bring music that symbolizes their digital presence today. and through a workshop, put words into it.
I'm not a girl.
And, of course, the sound of tomorrow. Where should we take them?
To let go. Focus, fire gun with me. I came in like a wrecking ball.
You can always discuss the choice of music, though. But we make the client focus on the brand presence and the experience, but based on a whole other thing than themselves, which makes that part a whole lot easier. And even makes them think in completely different ways and use words they, they thought they didn't know of. All the way through the process, we're including references to make all the theory visible to the client and to prime them towards what the design industry tendencies are at the given moment. We often use the work of other people and agencies in this process just as examples to make everything as specific as possible and to ensure we're still talking the same language. So, nice and beautifully put into boxes and animated as well. Yeah, this is our process in an overview. And if a client isn't willing to do this kind of work before getting started, we don't want them as a client. Ordering a website is not like ordering a pizza. We don't want to just execute. We want to be part of the process from the beginning. As you see, it's divided in 3 phases and 2 budgets. One is fixed and the other one is agile. And yeah, it's an agile budget. I'll get back to the little maybe at the end later on. So we don't work for free and we don't do mock-ups on spec for free. What we do offer for free is 1 coffee meeting to explain the client our way of working and see if they like us and we like them, if we can produce something really good for them. After that first meeting, we get paid for every interaction with the client. Second and third meetings, workshops I described, where we playfully discuss what the brand stands for and how the website can enhance and extend that brand. Of course, that kind of work costs money. If we're a match, first off is an interview between our conceptual leads and the client's 1 to 3 representatives planned. The interview is more or less structured the same way every time, but it makes sure we get the information we need to understand the background of the project, the client's business on a basic level, needs, challenges, products, services, and culture. With the knowledge gained from the interview, we were able to develop the first workshop where the entire creative team from our side joins in with the client. This session is all about strategy, users, business goals, user journeys, etc. There's no visual design involved yet at all. We're ready to execute workshop number 2, 1 or 2 weeks after the first one. This one is more focused on the visual design and the experience, so it could be keywords, bipolar chart, your brand sound, visual references, etc. And the order of the workshops is like this for a reason. We need the fundamental information about the client, brand, users, before we can start the more visual process. Otherwise, we're just guessing. The process and the workshops gives the client a document with what we all have figured out together. They can choose to go forward with us or take the document to another agency. It's up to them. We've been paid to diagnose, and they're free to do whatever they want. For us, it makes sure we don't ever price a project or a client before we understand the task we're facing. It helps us design something that is really making a difference for that exact client and their users. Fortunately, we're lucky enough that more than 9 out of 10 chooses to continue the ride with us. And when they do so, this becomes handy. The budget. What you all have been waiting for, right? The project budget is based on the findings from the debrief, of course, and consists of a fixed and an agile part. The fixed part is quite simple, short and normal, I guess. Probably like most of you do today, but with the entire budget. We only include non-technical stuff here. So a fixed price on the visual and conceptual work, project management and stuff like that, the feeling, so to speak. And prices are based very much on our experience and how much value we are about to add to the client or to the brand. But more interesting is the second part of the budget, the agile part. which works like this. We make a thorough breakdown of all the technical stuff in the project, all that involves code, the functionality. Every task, feature, function gets its own line, as exampled here. After that, we estimate every task with the team that is part of the project. We have a rule saying a task cannot exceed, oops, I don't think it, there's some video here not working. Sorry about that. So yeah, the team estimates every task, but nothing is as easy as it seems in web development. So we're also working with what we call an UF, which is basically an uncertainty factor, where the developer has the chance to point out how sure he is about the estimate. The factor ranges from 0 to 5, where 0 is very sure, and 5 is very unsure. Yeah, it works. The estimate together with the U factor gives us an hourly range for solving the task. So instead of a fixed price, we're starting to work with estimates and spans on a single task level here. Lastly, we are prioritizing the tasks with the client based on which kind of value we see the individual task adds to the project. All this is something we let the client in on, so they get a fundamental understanding of how complex a web project is and how many things you should take care of before the project is done. Now we're able to talk about what we're capable of doing and what the actual production of the website should cost. 99% of the time, we are reprioritizing the list with the client because suddenly they realize what is really important. It helps everyone focus and keep things simple. So by reprioritizing tasks, we're changing the scope of the project to fit the budget. And what's even more interesting, we created a tool to discuss the connection between tasks, functionality, time, and money with the client. And from here, the Agile budget can and should be used throughout the project as a budget management tool to discuss scope and budget, to reprioritize if new tasks or ideas pops up, etc. And remember, it's a tool, it's not handcuffs, so there's room for changing stuff along the project. It's a thing about Agile, right? Aha. I know what you're thinking. I do. No client on this planet would accept that kind of pricing, right? And that's actually quite funny, because I got a slide coming up in 2 seconds, which will show you why this works. The client is educated through the process. They learn along the way how complex web is, how complex design and communication is. So the free and fixed part of the process makes them feel wow while they're secure about the budget. And afterwards, safe and secure when we reach the Agile part, when they understand. So we can make that maybe to a year. In general, I like Photoshop. He really is your friend, but he's lying, and so is Comet. I'm sorry, Bart, and Adobe. We used to do it all wrong. We would start with Photoshop because we're designers, and we love that process. That's our drug. We would develop ideas, functions, and stuff never seen before in fucking Photoshop. And then we would present it to the client with our biggest enthusiasm, because we want people to like our work, and we want them to like us. And after that, the development team would have to follow the design, even if it wasn't well suited to the needs or the budget, not to forget, to save the designer's ass and deliver what we promised the client, under the pressure of time and budget, of course. So, now we produce just one Photoshop document with a mood, a look and feel, and get the client's input on whether or not that reflects the product. Not a template, no functionality, just a mood. And here's a couple of examples. And sometimes, even after this great educational part of the process, the client asks quietly, "What does that button do?" And we'll go, "We don't know." But do you feel? Do you feel the design? Can you taste it? Are you able to see the potential here? Do you see your brand fit into this? And they do. They can easily sign off on the visual part based on this. Does this mood fit you? When the look and feel is approved, we go right into the development process in close coordination with the client, and we test all along, so there are fewer surprises at the end. The core functionality, which we define through the user goals exercise, are often prototyped on a technical level with the client to be sure we got it right before we go into the more visual part. From here, the development phase is agile, both between the designer and the developer internally, but also with the client. We are building the website together, few bricks at a time. We plan all meetings and touch points when the project starts to keep momentum, again, both internally and with the client. And at some point, we reach delivery. And just by adding a 30-day span from the delivery date where the client gets free support and bug fixing, we significantly brought down the amount of afterlife. So what have these 3 changes meant for us? We become more of a business partner with our clients. We build better and more usable backends because we're letting in the client so early. We get very high commitment from the client as we're building the website together. And it's easier to discuss the quality of content and higher the level if needed, and ultimately deliver greater websites that we're proud of. And the numbers, they didn't change. Oh, they changed. We increased our numbers positively on web projects by almost 50%. And this is mainly because of a change in our approach and process by working closely together with and educating our clients. We'll never stop tweaking on our way to approach web projects, or projects in general. But we're still creatives. We're still ambitious. We're still human beings and not machines. So we're not aiming for 100% here. It's okay, there should be room for stuff that just happens. But this maybe could be great. Small steps, you know, small steps. And then, last random shit from me. Use Photoshop for the most basic design decisions and visual prototyping before you code the shit. But do not ever again design a whole web project in Photoshop. Use code and stay as much as possible on the actual platforms where the project are going to live. I'm absolutely sure that some of this you'll think of as basic stuff, but the difference lies in involving the client. Dare to open up, expose yourself, be curious, and ask the stupid questions. You'll become a trusted partner to your clients more than a supplier. And right there, you'll be 100 times more attractive than your competitors. So don't get me wrong here. I am a designer, really. I love the visual part of a project. But a game changer for me in regards of web development was when I realized that we need to focus first on the functionality. Otherwise, we are really just guessing what and which elements needs to be designed, how the UI should work, how it should feel, how the client's content is. Today, we spend just around 50% of a project budget on thinking, planning, talking, understanding, and asking stupid questions. After that, the actual visual design and code isn't such a big thing to solve, and everyone is a happier version of themselves. This one speaks for itself, I think. Functionality and aesthetics goes hand in hand. Who wants a beautiful chair if your ass hurts after 30 minutes sitting in it? And yes, you can quote me on this one. We developed a lot of exercises. They are all somewhat basic stuff, if you ask me. But doing this through dialogue with the client and the project team really opens up for discussions and knowledge we would never touch if we didn't facilitate these exercises. So see it more as a tool for creating dialogue about stuff that's usually awkward to express, for the client at least, and talk about for the most of the client people. So let's wrap up. Is this the way to do it? Not necessarily. This works for us and the way we like to work, but if I should leave you with one thing, I would say it's a process. And the way we and the industry approach web and service design and creative projects in general will continue to evolve forever, hopefully. The day we stop doing that, we're out of business. So are there any downsides? I really don't know. Maybe there's too much control and too little rock and roll. Well, that's fixable. Thanks for having me. It's been a blast.